Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Raven here. Today we're going to do episode 19 of Eric/Maximilian solo campaign. First, I'm going to get some of my music started. And when last we left off, we completed our first trial. And we were here in the trial room. Now the headmaster is going to take us up and over here, and as we come in and through the pathway, there is a building off to the side. And as we walk through the door and come into this building, the dean says, "Now, welcome to the Crystal Ballroom. This is where everyone will get their magic element registered so that we can put you in a class that most fits your magic capability." And as he says this, we're all looking at each other like, what are you talking about? This is just an empty room. And when he's done speaking, the center of the room on the floor, a magic circle appears, and then from that magic circle, it looks like an altar is teleported into the center of it, and on the altar is a dragon's claw holding a crystal ball. And the dean says, "Now, come, place your hand upon the crystal ball, and let's see what magic you all have." And everyone walks up and places their hand on the crystal ball. And then it gets to my turn. And as I walk up and place my hand on the crystal ball, it turns a whitish blue color. And the dean says, "Ah, the power of ice. Interesting. Most people only have water itself, not the solid form, allowing them to make things such as equipment, walls, anything you can imagine, really, as long as it's a solid object." And he says, "Now, let's go and see what item will be your magic focus, new students." And he brings us over to an area over here where he waves his hand and a door appears. And as we all walk through the door and we appear in the back of the room, there is what looks like to be a bunch of treasure chests, a bunch of tables with wands sitting on them. There's stabs lined across some of the walls, and mixed about are some swords, some axes, some daggers, all that sort. And on the other side of the room, there is like bows and chain whips hand cannons, things of that nature. And as we are all looking around, the dean says, "Now, choose your focus." And we look at each other kind of confused, but no one speaks up, so I look at the dean and say, What do you mean, choose your focus? I mean, I noticed that on my way here, there was like a bunch of students in the woods with wands. They said they were doing their trial, but there's like way more than just wands here. So, are we like supposed to just choose a wand or what? And the dean goes, "Oh, excuse me for not explaining. Your focus is an item that you will use while at the academy to train you how to use your magic correctly and focus it at will. We hope that by the time of your graduation that you will no longer need to rely on such a weapon or item. But as your graduation gift, it is given to you anyway." And so we look at each other and say, "Oh, okay, so do we just like pick whatever one we like?" And the dean goes, "Well, many just pick the one that they like, yes, and end up having problems with the weapon of their choice, not the weapon's choice of its user, but to each their own." And as he says this, the others start to walk around and look, and one finds a wand, one finds a sword, one finds a bow, and one finds an axe. And then I'm the fourth one, I forgot. And then I walk around, and let's roll to see which one of the 3 items that we did at the very start of our campaign, when we rolled to see what 3 items we would get throughout the campaign. We're going to see which one of those is going to become our focus. A 2. Let me check my notes real quick. Alright. So, as we are walking around the room looking for something, we begin to feel a cold dampness on our back, and we put our hand on our back and like feel what's like making our back wet, because the only thing that's sitting on our back is our shield, which is our water resistant shield that our father gave us. And as we put our hand on it, we feel that the shield itself is dripping water. And as we are like, what is going on in our heads thinking this, we just ignore it and continue to look around. And as we're looking around, we don't really see any wands or swords or anything of that nature that we like, and our build's not really suited for something like an axe axe or a hammer. And so we're rummaging around, and we decide to go and look through the chests that are in the back of the room. And as we start to rummage through some of the chests that are unlocked, we come across a chest that is in fact not unlocked. And as we come across it, the water on our back gets to feel like it's starting to run all the way down onto like our leg and down onto the floor. And as we look down, because we can feel the water like dripping all the way down us, we look down and we notice that there's a massive puddle of water on the floor at our feet. And as we're like, what the hell? And we like put our hands on our back, we notice that the shield is gone. And as we're like panicking, like, dude, my dad's gonna kill me. Like, what? He said this shield's been in our family for like centuries. What am I gonna do? And as we're panicking and thinking this, we are like looking around, and we notice the dean in the corner of the room starting to laugh and chuckle as he has like a slight smirk on his face. And as this is happening, the water on the ground begins to bubble up and evaporate. And then as the evaporates, all the mist begins to go inside the keyhole of the treasure chest, and until all the water is gone and the the vapor forms a key, and the key turns and unlocks the chest, and then it melts back into, and then the key melts back into water, and it hits the ground. And inside the chest is the set of the armor set of Ravaging Waters. And as we look at inside the chest, we hear the dean start to chuckle and laugh. And as we hear him chuckling, we look over and we'd say, what's so funny? And why the hell did the shield my dad give me just open up this chest? And the dean says, well, my boy, it looks like you've been chosen by a hero's relic. What's a hero's relic? We say with a confusing look on our face. Well, that right in front of you, my boy. That one is the suit of Ravaging Waters, worn by one of the heroes of the Primordial Eye that defeated the last Demon King 1,000 years ago. There are 5 suits scattered throughout this world. We here at the school own 3 of them. And we look at the dean and say, what did you say? The who? The what? And as we're like trying to come to terms with this, we begin to get more confused and having even more questions again than what we had answered. And so as we're just like, whatever, I guess we'll find out when we need to, we decide to reach our hand into the chest and grab all the pieces of the armor. And as we touch the armor, our vision goes black. And as the vision goes black, we collapse and drop to our knees and fall forward with our face into the chest, and we are whisked away in our mind as the darkness and begins to slowly fade to pure white, and as shadows of figures of humans start to appear like drops of ink being dropped into water, shaking and shifting down to the bottom before they form into the shape of a shadowy humanoid-shaped figure in the distance. And we see these 5 shadowy figures shaped like humans fighting against a huge shadowy figure with horns, a tail, wings, and it looks like cloven hooved feet. And all we can hear in the background is whispers of the lost souls saying, "We will defeat you, Demon King. The realm shall be ours. The primordial eye has taken too many years, thousands to be exact, stretching our hands all across this world, binding the magic of others, forcing them to our will, becoming the rulers of this world, while simultaneously its heroes in the darkness. And yet you choose to try and overthrow us? No, Demon King. You and your kind will never be allowed to walk amongst the human realm." And as this happens, everything goes dark again. And then we awaken. And as we wake up in the infirmary, we open our eyes and we look down and we notice that we're not in the clothes we were in when we passed out, but we're wearing the suit of ravaging waters somehow. And as we sit up and we're checking it out, what the hell happened? We notice the nurse sitting in the corner, and she hears the noise of us scuttling around, and so she spins around and says, "Ah, you're finally awake. It looks like you've become a hero candidate to defeat the Demon Lord. Congratulations, Sonny. You're about to have one hell of a life." And with that, we will leave off today's session. I hope you have enjoyed. I know that today there was no combat, but there will be combat in the next session, so just bear with us as we get through the story parts. Thank you all again. Like, subscribe, and join us for more adventures.